Good morning, babe. It's the Doug Rising Show. Well, the Doug Rising Show. Well, the Doug Rising Show. I'm Doug Rice. Okay, stop. Got a real band in here now. Can you tell? You can't tell, of course. Maybe you can't tell. I don't know. Good morning. Doug Rice. Don't drop your phone. Doug Rice. That is me. How you doing? 10 o'clock in the morning. If you are here with me, well, whoop-dee-dee. I don't know. How are you? This is, I think, the second day, third day, fourth day, second, third day. Daily shows. Oh, for Negroes, that is what I am doing. And stop, because I'm about to ruin the image and the style that you used to. Oh, okay. So, no camera. You know what? Listen, you can only deal with my bug eye just for a day. And so, I am going to simply show you my face on Sundays, and that's going to be at the regular noon time. And those are going to be 7 topics to carry you through the week. And we're gonna land there. We're gonna stop. We're not gonna do Negro news because we've done news throughout the week, and I am, if anything, only slightly. All right, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing good. You doing good? Good. Stop. My name is Doug Rice. I started this on the 6th of January, 2021. Along with everybody else, I was captivated. I was enthralled at the activity. Oh my goodness, it was riveting, wasn't it? It was just, it was a lot. And you see, the thing is, on that day and since that day, I've tried as I may to deliver the news that I come to say, and folks, just, hey, just stay. I only want one thing out of Negroes, just one thing. And you know what? I'm not asking much. I am not telling anybody to rise up, okay? You sit your asses down, Negroes, all right? What I'm telling you, what I'm saying, all I'm expressing and relaying is to please get that goddamned grin off your faces. Yeah, well, I don't know. That's not much, right? Let me tell you something, folks. I know that we are a happy people despite our circumstances. I know that we are a people that are warm and inviting and loving and giving and sharing and caring and all of that without the swearing. And they just love to be around us when we're happy. Let me just say that again. There is nothing so warm and inviting as the Negro smile. Just sit back and relax a while. Oh my goodness, I tell you, you know that in a good old song? Y'all remember how they got along. I mean, but the antithesis of that thought, the bipolar opposite of that ideation is that deep within this rather racist nation is that a Negro that is not smiling, a Negro that is not wearing that, so gentle, a comforting fragment on the facial expressions. And I tell you what, man, they sop it up, they eat it up, they sup it up, they just love it. But if you dare remove it, you will simultaneously remove the masks that they wear. And they wear masks. They wear masks, folks. And sometimes we are victims of the unmasking, the unmitigated gall of some of these individuals through it all, who sometimes just have a ball driving a couple of 1,000 miles and trying to kill us all. But I'm not gonna bore you with that. We got a topic to get at. Again, my name's Doug Rice. You know, I think January 6th made me only imagine, what if everyone in the crowd were Negroes? Shall we? Shall we ask that question? Shall you and I as Negroes just surmise once you just shut your eyes for a moment, okay? And I want you to just figure for a moment, you know, the momentous occasion that would have been had all of those committing that sin had been of our common kind of skin. No doubt they would have done us all in. Now, I can't imagine that we would have done anything so reckless. I can't imagine that Negroes would have assaulted the Capitol en masse, and I can't imagine that ever would come to the mind. But let me explain. These individuals, I said it that day, I'll say it again. These individuals thought they could do that. Now, I hope you understand that. I hope you hear that. I hope you absorb that. Every last one of those individuals who assaulted the Capitol on the day that started this effort thought that they could do that. And they did that. And some of them went home. Most of them went home. A lot of them went home and never had to account for their activities, their action. They wear it as a badge of honor. And that, my folks, is the head of the match, if you will. Those are the folks that Donald Trump is just pouring his spill, his endless drivel, his whine and snivel. Those folks that went home, who happened to roam in the Capitol but were left alone, those are the folks that Donald Trump is shown have what he believes is the power to put him back as man of the hour. And I want you Hebrews, I want you as family, I want you to understand, now and again, those folks can blend in. So you don't know who's surrounding you. You don't know who's your next door neighbor. You don't know who you're going to school with or who you're in labor with. You don't know the next person who's beside you. And so, whenever you find yourself in public places, do me a favor. Get that goddamned grin off your faces. All right. I think we laid a foundation. All right, cool. All right, I hope everybody is well. Listen, you like this, please do me a favor. Hit the like button. Hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. As far as I can tell, they've told the notification bell to go straight to hell. I don't believe that they're going to let you guys know once you leave that there's a show. And so just remember, every day at 10, unless now and again I must do the job other than put the paper to pen. Oh, damn it. Anyway, moving on. So how's everybody doing? You guys see the topic. You saw the topic. You see what we're talking about today. It is reparations. And I thought that Reckoning Reparations Reconciliations might be in order. Now, I need you to understand, some of these topics are not going to be topics that you find to your liking. I've already been told this morning, this isn't a topic that some of you like to discuss, and well, to you I say, don't get the back of the bus. But, and such and thus, I just must discuss this because it fills me with disgust. This. Trust. You'll soon get the gist. Reckoning, reparations, reconciliations. Yes. What is it that they hope to do? What is it that they hope to accomplish in giving us money? Because that's all this is talking about, money. All right, look, let's stop. Let's just stop. This is about cash. This is about Negroes with smiles on their faces. My God, my goodness. And don't you understand? Don't you forget for a minute the moment that they put money, the hands in it, they will try as they might to wrench it back from you. So don't be so quick to take that money, Negro. But we're going to talk about it. We'll examine it. We'll figure it out. I don't know. I think it's a trap. I've said it in the description, but I've also said that there's only one possible, perhaps, condition that I might accept reparations. And I do mean that, along with the rest of the Negro nation, but I will wax philosophically on that as we progress. Let's take a look at the news and what they say. Let's see what people are thinking, what people are causing other people to think. Let's see what people are reading. Let's see if it's good or if it stinks. I mean, let's do this, shall we? Well, yes, we shall. All right, so too few sources available. Hopefully you guys see that, and if you don't, well, I think I can do something about it. Watch this. I do. Let's see. Uh-oh. I am a genius. I am a genius. Could you write that down, one of my moderators? And I forgot to introduce the moderators for the folks here that are live and on YouTube. And I know the numbers may be few. Let me say that I am not a numbers person. I never have been. I am not a populist. I am an anti-populist. I know that this message is not for everyone. I know how I deliver it is not for every ear. I appreciate every ear that comes near, but who knows what the future might hold. I mean, you know, some folks may be told about this show, so they might tune in, just so you know. All right, reparations for slavery. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the reconciliations that they hope to accomplish. Let's talk about the reckoning of those reconciliations. Let's talk about if those reconciliations reckon. Let's reckon the reparations. Let's do it. Reparations for slavery, as defined by Wikipedia, is the application of the concept of reparations to victims of slavery and or their descendants. There are concepts for reparations in legal philosophy and reparations in transitional justice. Now, let me stop there just for a moment, if I will. There is a secondary term that I've learned, and yet still it's here in the description. It's called compensated emancipation. And it differs from reparations. I found this odd. Let's take a look together, shall we? Here we go. So again, at the top, not to be confused with compensated emancipation. So let's now define that. Compensated emancipation was a method of ending slavery under which the slave person's owner received compensation from the government in exchange for manumitting the slave. Manumission or enfranchisement is the act of freeing slaves by their owners. Different approaches to manumission were developed, each specific to the time and place of a particular society. Historian Vereen Shepard states, yada, and thus and such. This could be monetary and could allow the owner to retain the slave for a period of labor. And indenture, as we know, cash compensation, rarely was equal to the slave's market value. Now, folks, are you paying attention? Because it's a small price to pay if you just listen to what I say. I'm not here to simply hear myself talk. Notice I did say simply, and at that confession, I will not bawl. But the differentiation between compensated emancipation and that between the reparations for slavery are just ungoddamned savory. I don't know. I don't want the money. I don't. But let's see. Sometimes I think funny. I don't know. Let's find out. Again, maybe. I don't know. Here we go. So reparations, we've defined it. Okay. Now let's see what people are talking about. Let's talk about what they're talking about. We've covered that. So here we got from CNN from the July 13th, 2022 article written by Jacqueline Germain. Yes, I'm doing my thing now. Here we go. The fight for reparations has stalled in Congress. Here's what they look like in state and local governments. Now, this was last year. This gentleman, what a fine-looking Negro. I mean, yes, you did have to take a picture of him in all his clothed glory. That was not kind, but that's fine. That's fine. We'll cloth him in royal linen shortly. Evanston, Illinois, CNN. Lewis Weathers, this gentleman, this man, had a stable job and was married when he decided to buy a home in the Chicago suburb of Evanston in 1959. But high interest rates and white real estate agents, wait, you can't see that. Hold on, I got it. I know, I got you. Boom, boom, boom. And white real estate agents who seemed adamant about keeping him and other Black residents out of certain neighborhoods nearly discouraged him. More than 6 decades later, the 87-year-old received a payout to make up for the discriminatory housing practices that he and other Black residents experienced between 1919 and, oh my God, 1969. After 3 years in the making, Evanston gave Weathers and 15 other Black residents a whopping $25,000 apiece. Oh, happy damn day. And back then, I know that money was good, and it was good money, and no, they wouldn't have turned it away. Nobody should have, but I don't know if that's him today. I don't know. What did that money actually do for him? Nobody can really say. I'm not harping on him, but dear God, boy, it's a story of success and gain. He's standing there, damn near looking insane. That's right, I said it. I don't mind. All right, next. Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, I'm just that guy. So, reparations. So obviously this is something to examine. He was kept out of, real estate areas, probably designated red line. We know all that they do. We know their kind. And unfortunately, it took just a few, several decades for him to get $25,000. And again, that amount of money, what use did he put it to? Who knows? Perhaps putting a child through college, who knows? I don't know. But it's a pittance. And I will tell you this, whatever they offer, whatever amount they proffer, whatever it is that they show us that we inevitably will scoff at, I tell you, some will grab it and go. Some of them will act like a typical Negro. But at what cost? If you take reparations, what cost? What is it you have to give up if you cash a government check that says for slavery on it? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Now, we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it too. We are. But let's get to the next thing that they're talking about. Let's see what they're doing. Here we go. From NPR, which I do listen to and do enjoy. Right here, KJZZ here in Phoenix. It says from an article, March 27th, 2023, from Jennifer Luden. And I might say, Jennifer, I love it when they talk about our circumstances. If I may pause there just for a moment, I do. They have no business voicing, but we might need to listen. I don't know. I'm only going to hear them once, though. I got to say that. I mean, if they have an opinion and, if as long as it's something, not contrary to what we establish as a need or something assistive or helpful, I may listen to it once. Here, Jennifer, let me get back to her. Jennifer says that cities may be debating reparations, but here's why most Americans oppose the idea. Now, you need to wrap your mind around this as a concept, folks, because there will be a backlash if, in any respect, Negroes are compensated either monetarily or in any way. There's been talks of several ideations of how they might compensate this Negro nation. One is paying no taxes ever. One is just, a bunch of gain, land and property, homes. Back to the article. Local reparations programs in about a dozen cities in the state of California have renewed hopes for an eventual national policy to compensate for slavery. But after decades of lobbying and 3 years of a national reckoning over race, Americans overall remain strongly opposed to the idea. When Tetya began polling about it several years ago, he expected money would be the biggest issue, or perhaps the workability of such a complex undertaking. It turns out those are the smallest concerns among the 2/3 of Americans who say they're against cash payments to the descendants of slaves. Let me land right there, folks. Well, now, some nice brutal reality, a dash cold water upon the hopes of those who might be house shopping right now. I don't know. We got person decided they were going to do a poll, ask a few people, ask a few Americans. Now, when we talk about Americans, we know who we're talking about. When you and I think about Americans, we know who we envision. We know what kind and type of individual we see in our mind, the type of individual that she certainly asked. And that response was a resounding no on reparations for those of us they deem are African Americans. And no less than 2/3, as we remind ourselves of her writing, of Americans say they are against cash payments. Now, was the question phrased cash payments? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, does that mean they're not against another compensation of time? No, listen. They had a group of individuals these individuals in, I think it was Philadelphia, these guys in Philadelphia, and Negroes were promised some sort of compensation for some sort of business violation. And the Hispanic nation came to attention. And, they took him to court, if I might mention, but you already knew that, okay? There is not a single thing that Negroes will receive that individuals who are against it might perceive. And before we can take the money, cash the check, and leave, well, we might have to be dealing with a few brothers look like Steve. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry, whatever. For all the brothers that look like Steve, don't worry about it. It was just where I had to go with it. Moving on. So we got that snapshot of what America thinks, right? So we got that. What are your thoughts? Please comment in the chat section. Now, I don't read chat. I can't do that, and I can't, keep up with the show. And I'm not too ashamed to say it so. So while Detrina and Antoine take care of that responsibility, I'm just going to continue with the next article. Let's see where we go with it. All right, moving on. Here we go. So, reparations now. Why white people must join the call to pay reparations for slavery. So now we've got a total bipolar opposite point of view and the spectrum of light and ideation. And dear God, what's going on in this nation? What do they want? Now, this from Seth Cohen, of all individuals. Forbes is the author here, Forbes. And he says of himself, Seth, as you can see, if you can't, let me read it here. I write about leadership, politics, inclusion, and social change. So Seth is obviously woke, one of the most dangerous individuals in their minds, other than a woke Negro that's vocal. But Seth says reparations now why white people must join the call to pay. Oh dear God, I wonder how was his day? When he wrote this, I can't imagine the side eye going through him as he walked through the office. Beginning 400 years ago, and for more than 250 years of our nation's history, slaves built the United States into one of the wealthiest countries on the planet. Let me, if I might, let me land there for a moment. He gave me a fright. Oh, the stark reality. I'm almost ready to say goodnight on that one. I'm going to read that one again. I hope everybody can stand it. Just pretend I didn't read it right the first time. Let's begin again. Beginning 400 years ago, and for more than 250 years of our nation's history, slaves built the United States into one of the wealthiest countries on the planet. There's no bad way to read that. Thank you, Mr. For God's sake, Cohen. Dear God, one of them be knowing. Here we go. As a result, America owes an unconscionable and unforgivable debt to the ancestors of those slaves. Yet now, as the country is challenged to confront both the violent legacy of slavery and the dehumanizing tradition of systematic racism that pervades every aspect of society, it is finally time for that overdue debt to be paid in full. All right, who the hell is Seth? What is this? Who's Seth? Seth a black dude? What's going on? Do we have no picture? Cohen, Seth Cohen. We sure about this? I don't be knowing. Whoa! Oh, Seth can write. Oh my goodness. Seth better be careful going to the car, coming out work. Whoa, I don't know. Let me just go ahead and keep going. Here we go. Importantly, however, the call for that redemption of justice shouldn't be made only by the descendants of black individuals that have been systematically wronged and oppressed. White Americans, including men like me, answers that question, have a special and unquestionable responsibility to take up the cause of reparations and help make them happen. Yeah, I'm having fun. There's no doubt that many white Americans across the country are genuine in their expression of allyship with the Black Lives Matter movement. Just go ahead and slide that to the left. And other calls for racial justice. Like many of them, I too have been stirred by a sense of responsibility to take anti-racist actions that help address both the causes and consequences of racism in my own communities. Dear God, who is Seth Cohen? I mean, somebody protect Seth Cohen. Can you do that for me? Can somebody protect Seth Cohen? Because he needs protection. Dear God, listen, I believe his life was in danger writing that. He spoke it as well, hopefully not in front of a crowd. You can always tell how what you write goes over when you say it in a crowd. And I'm going to tell you something. Seth's writing is amazing, but in front of the wrong crowd, it'd be the end of Seth. That'd be Seth's death. Okay, maybe he'd take his last breath. I'll stop. So we got two points of view expressed, right? We got folks don't want us to have it, and we got one person that has written and said that that it's necessary. Well, I don't know. Is it worth it? That's the question. Is it worth it? Because what do they think about that? Is it worth it? Well, I don't know. Let's read it. Slavery reparations are a divisive waste of time. Here we have the Hill. Slavery reparations are a divisive waste of time, by Armstrong Williams. Now, folks, I am a Negro. And I'm going to have to tell you that it just sometimes just moves me that Armstrong might be a Negro too. I hope not, but we'll see. Here we go. Why are we talking about slavery reparations? Again, why has this hot button topic made its way back into the national spotlight? Like most Americans, I am sickened by the specter of slavery. And I understand the horrors it's wreaked on African Americans generations ago. All right, let's stop. Let's stop right there. So I'm going to go ahead and assume this might be a white dude. I mean, the jury's still out. You tell me what you think. I like this. This seems to be an interesting thing. All right. Most of us are painfully cognizant of slavery's ugly legacy. But to once again resurrect the idea of paying off a current generation of black people for the sins committed by white people and others decades ago makes no sense at all. It is ridiculous. Yeah, I rolled the R just for effect. I don't know what I'm doing. Listen, folks. Now, I got to tell you, this guy's a right to his opinion. I mean that. I don't care how offensive it may be. I don't care how many of you may find it antiquated and beyond the norm. I don't know if you may think it indicates some sort of racist connotation or, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you, the guy is expressing himself just as well as young Seth. What the hell? But let's read on. The issue of slavery reparations dates to the Civil War and has always been fraught with controversy. It is back in the news because the House Judiciary Subcommittee on the Constitution, Civil Rights, and Civil Liberties recently heard testimony on a piece of legislation that proposes the creation of a federal commission to study reparations and recommend remedies for the harm caused by slavery and the discriminatory policies that followed about abolition. Now, look what he wrote. He wrote what they want to do. He wrote that it's recommending remedies for what, Mr. Object? For the harm caused by slavery and the discriminatory policies that followed. So he does not deny those things as a fact that occurred. Now, so here we go. It's a hot button topic, I know. I do believe that it may have been tried before. And that's just a topic that you and I can't ignore. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to read it. America has tried reparations before. Here's how it went. This comes from the New York Times in 2019, dated 6/19/2019. New York Times, a writer, giving credit where credit's due. Hopefully they'll let me read it too. Adele Hassan and Jack Healy, it took two to write this. Here we go. So with a renewed focus on reparations for slavery, what lessons can be drawn from payments to victims of other historical injustices in America? Here we have a soldier in the Union Army and his family in a photograph taken around 1863, later found in Cecil County, Maryland. Only fragmentary records, if any at all, may survive regarding many African Americans from the slavery era and that is from the Library of Congress. Here we have a smart-looking family of Negroes. I love it, too. It looks really good. So here we go. So ever since a Union Army general announced in Galveston, Texas, that all slaves are free on June 19th, 1865, a day now commemorated as Juneteenth, something I will not celebrate, the question of how to compensate the country's formerly enslaved people has hung over the United States. Make it bigger. Lawmakers in Washington, boom, I'll do this, here we go, in Washington, addressed reparations for slavery for the first time in more than 10 years on Wednesday. Remember, this was a few years ago. A House Judiciary Subcommittee discussed a bill to create a commission that would make recommendations concerning any form of apology and compensation to descendants of enslaved African Americans. So there's no direct template for reparations, but there are examples. And they've been compensated Black residents of Florida that had a town burned down. I'd give it as an example. Native Americans did not get full control of the money awarded to them. Now look in the past for what we might expect in the future. This is what they did to natives, which is what they are still doing to natives. So in just not having to go through all of this, it is an interesting view. The government took a paternalistic view, kept Native Americans from having direct control of the funds in the belief they were not competent to receive such large amounts of money. Now, I don't know about you, but don't that sound funny? They did not make those awards, whether it was 200 million, 20 million, or 20,000. They held that money in trust accounts. And folks, I always look for history to repeat itself. I always look for it. I always expect it. I always know it's coming. And you can believe that if they determine that they're going to give Negroes something, they're going to repeat their history. And that's just not even a mystery. So we've covered some of the different details. Some for, some against. Even overseas, they've determined they're chiming in on, it's not just a U.S. problem, okay? The UK has something to say. UK cannot ignore calls for slavery reparations, says leading UN judge. Patrick Robinson says reparations for transatlantic slavery is required by history and is required by law. So look at what we're seeing getting stuck in their craw. Payback is a mob. You know what I mean? And I don't know. It seems to be on their mind. But should we have reparations and its administration run by our own kind? Black St. Paul residents say reparations efforts should be led by a Black person. That was yesterday. There we go. Now, this is how current this situation is, and I wanted to kind of get to as current a show as possible. And as you can see here, Reverend Richard Pittman, oh, look at the fat cat speaks at a press conference against the alleged hiring of a non-descendant of chattel slavery to lead St. Paul's reparations efforts on Tuesday. And look at him. Boy, he's primping and he's taking in a lot of air. He's the biggest person there. Yeah, I said it. What? You think I wasn't going to say it? All right, so Black St. Paul community members with roots in American slavery spoke out on Tuesday against the reported new hire of who will manage. Let me get that bigger. Whoops. Who will manage that? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry about that. Of who will manage the city's reparations efforts. Over 20 people gathered in high heat Tuesday morning for a press conference outside the St. Paul City Hall to express frustration that the unified hire is not an American descendant of chattel slavery. This is total disrespect to the Black community, says Tyrone Tyrrell, president of the African American Leadership Council and former director of the St. Paul, Department of Human Rights. We stand before you, they that our lived experience in our lives and the spirits of our ancestors matter. And no one can speak for us. Well, really, well, you don't mind, I don't mean to get in anybody's business. And I mean, what the hell you think you're doing? You're speaking, I don't know you. I'm not saying they can't, but ain't nobody sent me no letter. Nobody said nothing about you. Okay, I'll stop. All right. So let me just break this down like a fraction for you. Let me give you my take, because I think the point that I've made is not too shabby. There is a biblical view on reparations for slavery. And of course, everybody, including myself, as a Negro, as a Hebrew, should be guided by the principles that we find in Scripture, because the Scripture, as we know, is our history book. And so take a look at this. The biblical view on reparations for slavery. It is not human course to hold great-grandchildren responsible for the sins of their ancestors. I'm cool with that. But it is for the Scripture. So let's see. I don't know if they're going to let me read it all, but let's see what it says. While Gerard, I don't know if it's going to let me read it all. It says the Bible promises that God may punish succeeding generations for the sins of their ancestors, but the Bible is emphatic about this kind of justice belonging exclusively to God. Human beings and human justice aren't permitted to operate that way. I'm going to let that lay. I'm going to say this about that. I'll go with whatever the scriptures say. I know there's a 50-year jubilee. I know there's a time of freeing that everyone's supposed to see. I know that perpetual enslavement is not godly. So there you have it. But do you have it? I don't know. Listen, you take the money. Let me tell you how this is going to go. And I've said this for sure on other past shows. Let's just say they cut you a check. Let's just say the doors open to the bank, and what the heck, you got tens of thousands, maybe millions of dollars. You got enough money to make your ancestors holler. Okay. Here's what I believe they're going to permit you to say. I did say permit, didn't I? Well, let me just tell you this, and this ain't no lie. You take that money, you hear me? You take it. The first time you decide to express your mind about any kind of history, let me tell you, Negro. I can't imagine how fast words might be shoved right down your Negro throat. And I've not just expressed this verbally, I've wrote that they will have no problem telling you to take that complaint and where to solve them. I am giving you fair warning. The moment you take that money, that will be the dawning of don't you ever bring up slavery or what's happened to you. Ever again. And they mean that too. And I'm almost of the mind that not only will their kind be incensed that you've gotten so much money in your bank account, they are going to do everything they can almost immediately to snatch it, as I said, right out of your Negro hand. So look for that as well. And that's my story. That's my ideation. But Ray, I told you, there is one circumstance that I would more likely accept the money. And I'll tell you this because it might seem funny. If they tell me I'm getting compensation for being locked up in this racist nation and I'm going to get several million, I don't know, maybe a gazillion, who the hell knows, right? The only thing and the only condition that I would take that cash is if I knew that it was on my way out and they could kiss my black ass. And I mean that. I wouldn't take it under any other condition, but let me tell you something, I'd be on a goddamned mission. Because wherever I go, I am a Negro. And so we all know how that goes. They can go pretty low. All of the nations conspired against us. There's nowhere safe to go. But I would leave this country, as we all know, it's about on its way out, without doubt. So that would be the only way that I would take any kind of pay for the long-held torture that they put Negroes through every day. All right, that's it. Did I do something? I did not. Okay. I hope everybody enjoys what we put together today. And I do say we because this is a group effort. I can't do what I do. I cannot do what I do without Katrina and Antoine Anderson holding down the fort chat-wise. I don't know what you're talking about. I hope you're talking about something good. And I hope you found what we discussed today, in your Negro mental neighborhood. There's a whole lot we can say, a whole lot we can discuss. I'm going to be here every day doing just that. And thus, let me offer our ability to support this proffer, and it is correctly used. I will say that. This offering, this proffer. Listen, if you like what you hear, I'm going to be here every day now. Okay? So 10 o'clock, you can expect me here running my mouth into your ear. And if you appreciate my rhyme, if you literally, if you don't think I've been a waste of your time, please, if you would be so kind, use the links that you see below. And just so you know, and I said so, the Doug Rice Show with the $ in front of it is probably the fastest way. I've not lost contact with the others. I just haven't really checked them every day. So that's all I can really say. All right, folks, there we go. That's it. I'm Doug Rice. Thank you so much for giving me a piece of your ear. Thank you so much for your time. I know if it's a work day, you might have taken lunch off. I don't know, depending on your time. But if you come here, if it's noon your time, if it's lunch your time, if it's brunch your time, if you're home from work, if you're not working, if you work nights and you can get up every day 10 o'clock your time, if I'm on your time, then please be on time so that you can hear my rhyme. If you would. Anyway, thank you again to Trina. Thank you again, Antoine Anderson. My God, those two, I'm sure that they hold it down. They do. And they're a hell of a crew. Again, both of us, all three of us, we bring you this and we hope that you support it. So there we go. Okay, I'm done. I got to get to work too. You guys know I kind of own a small company, and I'm doing as well as any Negro can. Which is why I'm not really hitting the gas on asking for money from you. All right, I'm good. Remember, you get PDF compensation for any variable amount from $1 all the way up to $200. You'll get some really good PDF, folks. All right, I got to go. You guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Get my ass off the phone, just so you know. All right, here we go. Hey, damn it, did they leave? Trina, get the, hey, you, come here. All right, listen, pay attention, okay? Almost forgot to mention. Listen, folks, Donald Trump is hitting the gas. Donald Trump is being a Nazi ass. He is absolutely on a binge. Okay? The shit he's saying is making me cringe. So we know where this is headed. We know where it's going. We know, how the boat's getting rolling. These folks are out of their caucastic minds. And I just don't want you to find while you're out there on the grind that you're by yourself or alone in the moment, okay? Don't listen to all the shit that they foment, and they do foment it with a smile. They do. And I just give you the warning like I always used to. Well, this is you know Get that, you know what I'm saying. You know that these folks around you are not playing. They're not kidding. The blonde is leading the blonde back to where they beyond had gotten beaten in 2 world wars. I can go on and on. You know this for sure. But you're out there. You're amongst them, you know, in general company. And I just want you to be as attentive as you possibly can. Never allow them to stomp on your good graces. But more importantly, get that goddamn grin off your faces. Okay, I gotta go. You guys have a good day. Hope you